when your team loses, everybody gets deflated, and it's hard, and it's challenging. And so I think it's a healthy thing for the Democratic Party to go through some reflection. You know, I think it's important for me not to be big-footing that conversation. I think we want to see new voices and new ideas emerge.
Welcome back to Harvard. That was President Obama this afternoon discussing the state of his Democratic Party, and that is his party. The Democrats are facing a test of leadership right now, and there are potentially 3 hot contests all happening at once to signal changes in what's going to be post-Obama world. Anyway, the first is the race for Democratic National Committee chair, which is already becoming a crowded field of candidates, including Minnesota Congressman Keith Ellison, who I said has juice behind him, officially announced his run today. Ellison has the support of Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, and Harry Reid. That's a pretty good background. Also interested in the race for party chair, according to NBC News, is Secretary of Labor Tom Perez, former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, former DNC chair and Vermont Governor Howard Dean, South Carolina Party Chair Jamie Harrison, New Hampshire Party Chair Ray Buckley, and Missouri Secretary of State Jason Kander. Of course, he ran for the Senate and lost to Roy Blunt. In the Senate, Washington State Senator Patty Murray is rumored to be considering a challenge to Democratic Whip Dick Durbin. Chuck Schumer is the presumptive leader of the Senate Democrats, but now there could be a competitive race to be his number 2. And that's, by the way, a secret ballot race. That's always fascinating. On the House side, Nancy Pelosi, who has led Democrats through victories and defeats for nearly 13 years now, could face a challenge of her own as talk grows about a new direction for the party in the House. A group of roughly 20 House Democrats, spearheaded by Massachusetts Congressman Seth Moulton, has urged Pelosi to delay leadership elections in their conference until the party can better assess what went wrong last Tuesday and map out a path forward. Casey Huntz, NBC News political correspondent, and Jamal Sowens, the Democratic strategist. So, you know, whenever you lose a big one, even if you win the popular vote and you can get solace from that, you lost. And you lost the presidency when you should have won it. The knives are out. The knives are always out for the leader, as they should be. I love this part of politics. When your party loses, the knives come out. There must be punishment. As to quote Donald Trump, there needs to be some form of punishment. Right. There has to be. Jamal, who's going to get the axe? Who's going to get hurt by this?
Well,
because they lost.
I don't know if there's anybody left to be hurt, right? Everybody's pretty banged up.
Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, all backed Hillary down the line.
Well, the first
everybody backed Hillary.
So the first thing that people are going to do is
against Bernie Sanders.
People are starting to pay more attention to the Clinton campaign and what went wrong in the Clinton campaign, and the fact that the Clinton campaign didn't have a message, all that. So you heard a lot from Hillary Clinton this weekend about.
Did anybody say that 2 weeks ago? Why didn't a leader say that 2 weeks ago?
People were saying it back behind the scenes, but nobody was listening for months about the fact they didn't have a message, right? So I think this is something that's going to be a problem in general. Now, what happens going forward? I think there's some resistance to Keith Ellison right now. 1, he's a member of Congress. 2, I'm hearing there might be some resistance out of the White House here because they've got some tough relations that have been going on there for a couple times. There's some of the stuff about maybe some staff interaction. So he's going to have a little bit of a tougher road, even though he's out ahead. And I have been a part of DNC races before. I helped manage one when Howard Dean ran the last time. And I think this is going to be a very tough race that is decided in the country, not by Chuck Schumer and the people in D.C.
Go ahead. He's a single, by the way. He's African-American. He's a Muslim by religion. It's his faith. At the time you're trying to win back the angry white man, they might be the right signal, but who knows how these things work.
Look, I do think diversity is important to most Democrats for this particular post. I don't necessarily think that this is going to change it. But what I do think is that there is a reckoning coming for Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and anybody who made fun of Bernie Sanders. I think there is a real sense of I told you so from these progressives. And frankly, it's coming from the voters. And you're seeing Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi try to make these overtures to progressives, try to say, look, we're going to wrap you in. We're going to make you a part of this government. I don't know if people are going to buy it.
Well, it's always a good argument because you can't disprove it.
Right.
There's no way to prove that Bernie couldn't have beat Donald Trump. Here's Bernie Sanders, the senator from Vermont, on The View earlier today, talking about what went wrong with Hillary Clinton. Let's watch.
I like Hillary Clinton, and I'd knock my brains out to get her elected. But I think it is fair to say that the working class of this country did not believe that she was prepared to stand up and fight for them.
He's right.
Well,
He's right. And I'll tell you, what it felt like was that Donald Trump was Gulliver, and the rest of us were like Lilliputians trying to tie him down all the time. And in that scenario, you want to be Gulliver, right? Because ultimately, you can pull people away. And I think that's something that Hillary never got ahead of. She never figured out how to get ahead.
Because I've been thinking about Lilliputians, the elite that live up in the air and look down on everybody else. Okay, there's another part of the Lilliputians, you know.
But they
The
didn't
elite.
used to be that way. Even in 2008, white working class people, they were Hillary Clinton's people.
Yeah.
They voted for her in states like West Virginia and Kentucky in the primary against Barack Obama. And somewhere since then, the Democratic Party lost, and I think the Clintons as well, lost their way. And she suddenly was perceived as the candidate who was more likely to go behind closed doors at Goldman Sachs and tell Lloyd Blankfein that everything was going to be okay.
I also thought that hanging around with Hollywood celebrities is fun. But it sends a signal you're in the winner's circle.
Right.
You're not up there in Wisconsin beating around Milwaukee and Madison trying to get the vote out.
But all that's fine. But if you have a message that says, I'm for you. The thing about
Why
Donald
did
Trump,
it go-
at one point, he had one little man in a hat, right? He was the only guy wearing the hat. By the time it was over, there were 1 million people
Okay, why don't
wearing
they-
those goofy hats.
Can I tell you, old Democrat thinking, why aren't they for working wages, jobs? He came out for infrastructure. I don't know what they're, I guess they're afraid of being big spenders.
Free college or college tuition.
No, jobs.
Figure out jobs. People want education. But
Rebuild this country. Democrats should
She
do it.
lost with younger voters. There were so many younger voters that cast protest votes that if they had voted for her in states like Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, she might be on the other side of this winner circle right now.
I think it goes back to the lessons that the Clintons learned in the 1990s.
They were bad
learned
lessons for
that
this time.
For this time, they are the wrong lessons. They learned, hey, Democrats are if you're too liberal, you can't get elected. You got to go to the center. You got to be free trade. You got to be all that
three of
stuff.
us have a different interpretation.
You got to be a champion.
I
remember,
Right, you got to be a champion for somebody. Everybody knows who Donald Trump was a champion for. Who was Hillary Clinton a champion
Bill
for?
was a champion for people who work hard and play by the rules.
Who was Hillary Clinton a champion for?
I don't know.
And that's part of the
No, I
problem.
know.
Of the
I
election.
mean, unfortunately, it looked like she was the champion of her donors. That's what it looked like.
I think that's how
I think she
it's
is a
perceived.
champion for working people. She was. She has a great record.
Look, I'm not
but
gonna
she
dump on her
didn't.
now.
But I mean, she didn't do it.
She's in pain, and I mean that. Just think about that.
That's got to be really tough.
Anyway,
but we as Democrats, we've got to figure out what really went wrong here and have honest conversation about it. And that's the reason why I think more people have to talk about what really happened in the campaign and some of the
Why
bad
don't you go
decisions,
to Luzerne
so we
County?
get it right.
Go to Luzerne County and find out what happened in Erie. Find out what happened there in Washington County.
Well, find out what happened in Detroit when
You could
50,000
tell.
voters
When
didn't
you
show
went
up on
there,
election
you
day.
could tell. You could
See,
feel
everybody
it.
wants to do it your way. You want to say we got to get minorities from the city to show up with more excitement.
We have to do
and there's
both, but
also
if
the
that-
people in the small towns who don't like the Democratic Party today.
Yeah, but we haven't won those voters in a long time. And I'll tell you what, Mitt Romney won the same split on white women. Trump won the same split on white women that Hillary Clinton did. And in a more people of color election, she lost because she couldn't get the people of color who voted for Barack Obama
Keep
to turn
kissing
out.
off the poor whites, the working class whites.
No, we got to do it, but we got to do both.